What's going on, YouTube? Mr. Wheels here once again, bringing you another episode of Sports Talk. Okay, so it's time for the second round of the playoffs. Our 2014 NHL playoffs are starting tomorrow night, and I'm going to preview the Eastern Conference semifinals. First, let's talk about Montreal and Boston, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, rivalry in professional sports, and especially in hockey. They're meeting for the 1 millionth time. I heard that on CBC, and I just want to say right off the bat, I can't wait for this series. I think it's going to be awesome. I can't stand Montreal, and I really hope Boston kicks the crap out of them. I'm a Detroit fan. Boston beat Detroit pretty convincingly, I'm sure, to some people. So I've got to go with Boston in this series. I think their defense is better than Montreal. I'm sure Montreal fans would say, we got PK Subban and Andrei Markov and Josh Georges and Alexei Emelin and so on and so on. But I really think that Boston's defense was key to beating Detroit. They got offense from guys like Torrey Krug, and Kevin Miller was great, and obviously Zdeno Chara is always tough to play against. So I like, Boston's defense isn't the only reason I like them. I think Tuukka Rask, just like in the series against Detroit, is going to probably steal or could steal the series from Montreal. And offensively, when it comes to Boston, I don't think they played that great against Detroit in terms of production from their offense, but they really didn't need to. And if their offense is firing on all cylinders against Montreal, I think they'll have no problem. Now let's talk about Montreal. In net, Carey Price is one of the best goaltenders there is, hands down. So goaltending-wise, it's a pretty even matchup. But defensive-wise, Montreal's top four with Markov and Subban, or Markov and Georges, and then Alexei Emelin in there as well. Their top four defense looks pretty good. I don't know who really rounds out their top six defense. It really doesn't matter because the third D pairing probably won't get much ice time. But defensively, I think Boston has the edge. And when it comes to offense, I think when Boston's playing well, they probably have the edge in offense also. But Montreal is going to need to use their speed to beat Boston. And they have plenty of speed. So does Boston. Montreal is going to have to make sure they don't give up too many on-man breakaways. We saw how that turned out for Detroit. They were giving up on-man rushes all the time. Montreal can't do that if they want a chance in this series. I think there's no question Boston and Montreal, second round of the playoffs, is going 7 games. Boston could probably finish it off in 6. Montreal has a chance to do that too, but I think the fair outcome is to say this is going no less than 7 games. Now let's move on to New York and Pittsburgh. New York just got out of a 7-game series with Philadelphia. Pittsburgh got all they could handle from Columbus, and I'm kind of disappointed that Columbus didn't pull off the upset over Pittsburgh. But I think that this is another potential 7-game series. I could see Pittsburgh finishing it off in 6, but I think the fair judgment here is 7 games as well. And goaltending-wise, Marc-Andre Fleury and Henrik Lundqvist, I think they're, again, pretty evenly matched. But, there's always that doubt with Marc-Andre Fleury. He can give you a big save, but then we've seen in the series against Columbus, he can also make some just huge goaltending gaffes as well, and leave his net when he really shouldn't. So I give a slight edge to Henrik Lundqvist. I like him a lot more than Marc-Andre Fleury. That's just my opinion. But offensively, both on defense and offense, I think the edge, on paper at least, goes to Pittsburgh. They're really going to need their offense to fire on all cylinders to have a chance to beat New York. I think New York kind of uses a bit of a rope-a-dope style. We saw that in the series versus Philadelphia. They made it look like Philadelphia actually had a chance to win that series until they really kind of shut the door in Game 7. But, both teams' defense, I would say, is pretty even. I kind of like New York in this series overall. I gotta admit it. I think New York has a chance a very decent chance to beat Pittsburgh, because if you look at Sidney Crosby, for instance, he has 7 assists in however many playoff games, but he hasn't scored a goal in like the last 8 to 10 playoff games. And Evgeny Malkin, he scored a hat trick against Columbus to eliminate them in Game 6, but he was pretty much invisible for some of that series against Columbus. So I like New York. If they can get guys like Rick Nash going, and if Martin St. Louis keeps playing well, I think New York has a chance to win pretty easily, and I really hope they do, because I really don't like Pittsburgh at all, being a Detroit fan. But again, I'd ask you to like up this video, guys. That's pretty much all I have to say about the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to do Western Conference playoff preview of the second round, so stay tuned for that. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.